Welcome back to the Misperception Podcast. I'm your host, Destiny, and thank you for returning to the podcast. If you like, comment, or shared any of my content in the past, like week, 2 weeks, thank you. Um, I thoroughly enjoy watching y'all at least react, respond, all that good fun stuff. I said every single episode. Share it to a friend if you care. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this episode. So I'm at a bar and I'm talking with a couple more black women, older than I am, of course, children, probably a job, the whole nine. Um, they're out enjoying a drink, and we hear them talking about the Nolan Wells situation, right? And they were saying there was this woman in particular that was saying, all I could do for my children. One of the essential things that I tell my child, my black son, is to make it home to me. Whatever you do, just make it back home. And I say to her, I'm saying, yeah, that's good in theory, but what are you actually teaching that child, that son that you're raising? On like how do we get back home? Like what does that mean essentially? Do we comply to get back home? Do we call immediately? Do we have the 360 apps? Like, what do we do to get back home to you? She said to me, I can solidify his safety. I can protect him. All I need for him to do is make it back home to me. And that is good in theory. But I had to tell her, as a black woman, you cannot protect him. You cannot protect your son. And even though I didn't mean any harm by that, the reaction that I got, after that, confirmed that maybe we are teaching our children wrong, right? We're teaching them make it back home, but we're not teaching them that they are black in a white America, right? And what that means and what that entails. Predominantly, black people take up one space and white people and other races occupy another. And for some reason, this black boy or black little girl is in a space that isn't comfortable, right? Or ordinary to her. It is our responsibility as parents, as black people, to make sure our child knows. When Nolan Wells went on that boat and his parents sent that child on that boat, I wonder if they had an inkling this could end this type of way, because this isn't the first time where there has been a black male or female in a room surrounded by white people and did not make it home. We're talking about protection, make it home. That baby couldn't leave that boat. That baby never left the boat. Not alive anyways. How is that child to make it back home if we teach them, oh, comply, do whatever the officers say, or do whatever this threat says so you can make it back home to me? When we see cases where they die anyway. They die when they comply, they die when they don't. They die from walking down the street unarmed, and they die from, hey, I got a gun on me. It's right here. They die still. When we talk about protection, how really are black women able to protect their children, especially when it comes to black boys? There are limitations there. There just are. Honestly, I think it's innate, right? Women are always going to feel the need to protect their families, especially their children. But if we're going to be realistic, telling that baby, oh, just make it back home to me, I can deal with everything else. As strong as you are, you're not as strong as you think. There has been many cases where parents haven't been able to protect children. There's been cases where children are acting as savior to parents. So if the roles can shift and reverse like that, the mere statement, just make it home to me, sets that child up for failure or death. If I'm being honest, this is why I say, and I said to the black woman that I was speaking to, what happens when you can't protect them, right? You cannot protect them, not in every area of their life, because you are raising human beings. Our job as parents, our jobs as role models and mentors and representatives is to show people in the most humanly way possible how to be themselves. Oh, Destiny, what you mean about that? I need to make it back home to my mom. I need to make it back home to my mama. that baby probably compromising their integrity, compromising their critical thinking skills, and compromising and sacrifice believing that somebody is coming to save them. And while a mother will do everything, a good one at that, will do everything in their power to come and be a savior to their babies, sometimes they're just not able to. And that's the truth. And that glimpse in that timeline, right? That period where you're not able to make it, your child don't know what to do. Because not only do they not know how capable they are because you have enabled them so much, fear is going to cling to them like a wet rag. It's going to stifle them. Black people have to start teaching their children how to defend themselves. Nobody knows what happened in that tent, right? But Carmelo Anthony ain't dead. Yes, this world is trying to bury him and we're finding our defenses, but they're not dead. Just make it home. Do what you got to do to make it home. It may be more efficient to start teaching our children, the ones that they're calling threatening, right? At 13 and at 10 and at 9, the ones that they're cognitively saying this one is going to go to jail when they take that test in 3rd grade. Let's create a jail cell for that one. Or this one, because of the zip code that they're in school and the amount of times they've been suspended, let's make a jail cell for that one, right? The ones that's going towards drugs and violence as a coping mechanism or seeking community in that space. How do y'all protect those kids? The ones that's having mental disabilities or going into some type of drug-induced psychosis because what's available, right? How do y'all protect them? Sometimes it's not all about violence. It's about access. Protection isn't, I'm going to come and save this child when there's a threat present. Sometimes it does look like that, but also protection can be the parameters that you place that child around. When there is a lot of white people, then there's one black person, there should be red flags, especially if that's not a public place, especially if it's a sleepover in some house in the secluded woods. And I'm not saying that every white person in that group that has that black friend is innately, evil. But I'm saying there's a history present between black people and white people that we are still recovering from, whether anybody want to admit it. We can feel it in our bones. The rage is literally in our blood. That you can't tell me there isn't alarms going off in your head when y'all see this. I think the true testament of protection is preparation. Because when it comes, when the violence comes, when the threat presents itself, how have you taught your child to respond? And the fact is, y'all think it's never going to be y'all. Y'all ain't going to be in situations where it's your child found in a lake, whereas your cousin found in the woods after a slumber party, whereas your friend protecting themselves inside of that tent. Y'all don't think it's y'all until it is. Our black sons and our black daughters are ill prepared. Think about it. How many of y'all are teaching, and I mean sit down teaching your child the school to prison pipeline, especially when they're old enough. If they're in school and this is the thing, if they're in school from ages 6 to 18 and they're learning all these things about math and science, religion, sex, they can learn all these things, right? But at home, we're not doing anything, right? We need to, if the schools aren't going to show them and tell them about the real world, it's our obligation to do so. Our ancestors did it. Children knew what slavery was when they was at an age where they can cognitively understand. And that age was young, right? It was young to us, but those kids knew because there were repercussions for not knowing. Yes, they're going to experience racism, but they don't understand it. They don't understand what it means to be reactive. It's our obligation to teach them the social cues of the world, the social realities of the world that they're living in. It's black people's obligation to let them know. We can share our experiences, what worked, what didn't work, how that felt, how that didn't feel. And so they can forge a route for themselves, right? Just make it home to me It does nothing. It rings in their head. That's all it does. It's a sounding alarm. They don't know any defense skills. Most black kids don't even know how to shoot. They don't know how to shoot. Adults don't know how to shoot a gun. They don't know any self-defense skills, right? And that can just be like the martial arts form. What I'm mentioning is more than just you attempting to protect yourself, but it teaches you about parameters. It teaches you about discipline. It allows a window for you to understand how strong you are individually outside of being somebody's son or daughter. It allows them to critically start thinking of who they are, shaping their identity. There's so many influences outside of mother, daughter, mother, son dynamic. And if you're gonna be foolish enough to believe that that child can always make it home, you're setting them up for death. You're setting them up to fail, to find their ways in a jail cell, on the street, or dead. And it doesn't matter how far you think you made it out the hood or how far you made it out of, where you came from, the struggle. That would still be a black boy functioning, operating in a white America, navigating laws that was never made to protect him, navigating spaces that still is privately discussing his humanity, still getting underpaid and overlooked, still black. We're making a bunch of pivots when we talk about conversation, and I'm super proud, especially when it talks about love. But even our versions of love gotta grow. It, and I hate to say it, it has to extend beyond our own families. My son need to make it back home to me. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But there has just been a black boy who didn't make it home. And I didn't see you or hear anything in that conversation with that other woman about her doing anything about it. Until we start really understanding that whatever happens to a singular black home and really connecting that to our home, it's going to be very difficult for us to mobilize in harmony. It's going to be difficult for us to lend a helping hand because we can separate that black boy that didn't make it home from ours. Coming together looks like you standing on business about him, like you'll want somebody to stand business on your son if you weren't present. I believe that you can't always protect those who you think you're supposed to protect. The only thing you can do is prepare them for when the battle comes, when the depression comes, when the threat comes, when the trials come. They need to be prepared to the best of your ability to prepare them. I have 27 years of life on me, and I literally wrote down lessons, parables that I will be instilling to my children. You want to know why? Because they need it. The reason why a lot of people are ending up dead and in jail in these cells, dreams, just remaining dreams and not coming into fruition is because we, somewhere down the line, we forgot to keep telling our stories. And I'm not saying we got to broadcast it on social media and on TikTok, but most of y'all don't know who y'all grandmother is. Y'all don't know what she went through to before she was your grandmother. Y'all don't even know who y'all mama is. Her story. What lessons did she learn? Because that's where we grow from. Those people that got those old spirits, those old souls, they listen to the stories that was being told on the front porch. They observed the lessons that other people had to receive the hard way, but they absorbed it so that they don't make that same mistake. We need to get back to telling stories, no matter how much they hurt. But you know why we don't tell it? Because we're still operating in the pain of it, even though it's been 10 years, 11 years. And that's why we see that cycle continues and that curse traveling throughout generations because we can't even talk about it. But I guess I'll leave y'all with this. When we talk about how we are protecting our children, how we're protecting our families, and how we spread the awareness of protection to our entire race, make sure that it has an actual impact and an intention behind it instead of it just coming off as jibber jabber, right? Because I think you telling someone just make it back home, we can deal it together, that's an extension of love, right? And in love, we do try to protect, but protection is separate from love. Understand that and give your people the opportunity to access and operate in both. Be able to distinguish that for them. And I know it sounds simple, but people are living lives under the illusion that they are protecting somebody with their presence. In many cases, and historically, we've learned that cannot be the case. Until next time, guys. Thanks for watching.